the beginning, not of my actual work, but of meeting with art therapy, it was 32 years ago, when I met with T. Drykos, a social worker and an art therapist who was married to Rudolf Drykos, a psychiatrist who was a Adlerian and worked very much with the ideas of Adler, the social aspect of human being. So she introduced me to that during her coming to Greece, during a trip to Greece. And I was fascinated because then I had finished art school and I always was interested in psychology, and I didn't know, I had no idea how to combine the two. So it was fascinating meeting her. But the real coming across was in the States while I was studying psychology at Tufts University. Then I came along with the art therapy studios, with art therapists, and also in rounds, as we call them, in round meetings with psychiatric people. We have presentations from art therapists giving us ideas how the person who was treated there was expressing him or herself, and the problems were appearing in the images, and I was fascinated again for the second time. But at that point, in the 80s, I was studying psychology. I had finished already the degree in arts, and then I studied psychology, knowing in advance that in my country we didn't have this profession. It would be very difficult to come here and to work as an art therapist. But when I came back, I was so much involved with the idea, and I pushed this idea, and we created with other colleagues a center, and we started inviting people from England. And then it was the first time I met with real art therapists from Europe. And it was Michael Edwards, Patsy Noel Hall, Diane Waller, Roger Argyle, Diana Halliday, Roger Argyle, as I said, David McLagan, all the famous old names in England. And we invited them, and they started teaching, giving seminars and lectures in public hospitals. And this is how we started, with their support actually. The Arts and Psychotherapy Center, we have established the Art Therapy Center as a non-profit society. And then it was an AATA conference in San Francisco, and I was invited to take part in the ING group. Now, people who know about art therapy, they know that this is the International Art Therapy Group. And they asked me then, how do you visualize this profession, this art therapy, in your country in 10 years or in 20 years? And then it was when I first started having this vision about art therapy as a profession in Greece. So when I came back, I started working very hard, initially as psychologists using art, and later inviting these people, as I said before, from England, and giving seminars and lectures. And finally, I created a curriculum for studies. And this is where England helped me a lot. People who already worked in these places, in universities, and they gave me ideas. And I studied very much the American curriculum and the English curriculum, and I decided that somehow we have to create a Greek curriculum. That is, it was very difficult to have people from both areas of art and psychology or psychiatry to cover all of that before they come to the training. So I decided that we will put art and psychology and psychiatry and psychotherapy in the program. So the program is really heavy. It's at least 4 years training, part-time of course, with many hours of practicum and supervision. this is how it runs now. There's a program for training people from mental health who want to become art therapists, and they are already trained many people who work in places. And although art therapy in Greece is not an established profession recognized from the government, there are people who work in places like national hospitals, mental hospitals, and they work with art therapy. And somehow, without being formal profession, they use it, and they are accepted more and more now. And we formed also an association of art therapy, of Greek art therapists, and this is very important too, in order to help promote the profession, because you need an association to do that. And we have also a center who organizes seminars, organizes studios, art studios. It's very important because we give people a different idea about art. Our art studios is not as every other art studio around. Art is not taught in the way other studios teach art. We teach art in a free way and with a free approach. And this is very helpful. We have feedback from people which is very enthusiastic about that. And also we see, because it's a therapeutic center, we see people in therapy, either in private, in person, or in groups.